Today we're talking about the 20,000
Wow.
Epstein files.
20,000? Were they 20,000 PDF files?
The dog that hasn't barked is Trump. A victim
Whoa.
spent hours at my house with him.
Sounds like he's a good friend that doesn't want to admit or let anybody know how horrible his other friends are.
What is going on with Ghislaine Maxwell? Reportedly, she's been given a puppy.
The girl that was part of the fucking horrific file ring was given a puppy in jail. At least Donald Trump has his priorities checked, huh?
Later, Jeffrey Epstein says, report from London. Donald now thinks he's king. Ivanka a princess. He doesn't need advisors.
Damn. Wouldn't it be really funny if like the downfall of Donald Trump wasn't that he was a disgusting piece of shit, but it was just because he surrounded himself with a bunch of disgusting pieces of shit, and then he decided to say f them the second he felt like politically powerful. To me, the emails don't really matter that much because we know Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for like 15 years. That's enough for me. Alright guys, excellent job today. We do not have to restart the segment because nobody can see any of the video. So let's get this started for the first time. Let's go. Let's just get it started, dude. Let's go.
Today we're talking about the 20,000
Wow.
Epstein files.
20,000? Are you serious? I've never heard that before. Were they 20,000 PDF files?
That got released. It's
Wow.
a complicated picture
Incredible.
involving a lot of powerful people, but let me just say
Oh, I see Hillary Clinton right there, dude. That's crazy.
right up front, this is an ongoing story. There's a lot that's going to be released in the coming days, so just understand we're going to do
Yeah, I mean, you can't go through 20,000 emails at once, so it's going to take a while for people to parse through it.
our best to explain what has been happening, because this story has been full of twists and turns. It starts with the Democrats releasing 3 emails from the
Whoa.
Jeffrey Epstein estate. One
Just to be clear, more than just what the hell? More than just 3 emails were referenced, like were linked to Trump. Just to be clear, those are just the 3 that they highlighted.
says that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. A victim
Whoa.
spent hours at my house with him. Another says the
It just sounds like he's a good friend that doesn't want to admit or let anybody know how horrible his other friends are.
victim, Mar-a-Lago. Trump says he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, he knew about the girls.
Whoa.
As he asked Ghislaine Maxwell to stop. And then the third email is from Michael Wolff talking
Michael Hunt, what the hell?
about Jeffrey Epstein's association with Trump, saying you can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it looks like he really could win, you could save him generating a debt. Basically implying the idea that Epstein would have some kind of compromising information on Trump.
I wonder if this looks good for, like, because the Democrats release these explicitly. I wonder if these, like, people, I feel like the narrative is going to be like, oh, if there's all, these are all these emails that are talking about how, you know, they have damning information. Maybe he actually is innocent because they want to go after him. Like maybe they knew Jeffrey Epstein, but does that mean that he knew about all the stuff that was going on? I'm just letting you know what, like, that's probably where the narrative is going to go from like Trump and the Republicans.
But that was just the start of it, because then after that, the GOP came out swing and they said Democrats whine about releasing the files, but they only cherry pick when they have them to generate clickbait. You just
Ooh, I mean, that's what they're going to cherry pick for sure. That's what they're going to put out there. I'm sure that there's like plenty more.
deserve the full truth. And then they released over 20,000 files. Some of it had to do with Trump, some of it didn't. Important.
Well, it doesn't really matter what's on the files. You know, it could be like the most damning shit for Trump, but realistically speaking, them releasing so much and going like, hey, you cherry picked these 3, that gives Republicans the opportunity to go like, to just be like, look, there's so much more, and nobody's gonna, like, they're not gonna fact check it. Like MAGA people aren't going to fact check it. Like, let's be fucking real. I don't think that that's something that's they're particularly keen on doing. So they could just be like, look, you highlighted 3 out of 20,000. There's only these are the narratives. Well, if there's only 3, or oh, like there's so many more of them. What the fuck? Or there's so many more of them, and like you only chose these 3. There's going to be a narrative.
Importantly, 2 of the emails that were in there were some of the ones that the Democrats released, except they were unredacted in the GOP copy. And these lack of redactions are obviously very intentional. So we see first, I want you to realize the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And then it says, Virginia spent hours at my house with him. Now that name is really important because it's Virginia Giuffre. She was the Prince Andrew accuser, but importantly, she did not accuse Trump, rather saying that he couldn't have been friendlier. This
Okay, interesting. My understanding of there's a narrative that's attached to the redactions, just to be clear, from conservatives, and that narrative really heavily relies on like, oh, why did you redact it? It seems like it makes it seem like it's there's some kind of thing going on, like you're trying to be disingenuous. That's just kind of the status quo. Like that's just what you do. You tend to redact these things. That's pretty much it. There's really nothing there. There's no narrative there. There's no magical like evil demon, like evil Democrat thing. That's just kind of the standard. Is you typically release these types of emails redacted, regardless of whether the person is public or not about their particular feelings on particular things. So I think that's important for people to note. And obviously they're not going to redact. They're going to unredact them to make it seem like there's something going on. So.
Copy. And these lack of redactions are obviously very intentional. So we see first, I want you to realize the dog that hasn't barked is Trump.
Whoa.
And then it says, Virginia spent hours at my house with him. Now, that name is really important because it's Virginia Giuffre. She was the Prince Andrew accuser, but importantly, she did not accuse Trump, rather saying that he couldn't have been friendlier. This obviously is...
What does he have over it? Maybe he was just friendly to her. I don't know.
One of the main reasons the GOP appears to have released this, because...
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're going to cherry pick too, just like the Democrats are.
As in part...
I think like to here's the thing is like to me the emails don't really matter that much because we know Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for like 15 years. That's what we know. We know that. That's enough for me. We know he ran on like releasing the Epstein files because there was some kind of malicious swamp that we needed to drain. And it's like, okay, cool. And then he doesn't release them when he finds out that it's going to look terrible for him politically. So those are the things that I focus on that I think other people should also focus on. The emails, they might prove it doesn't, there's no, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't not prove anything. Because we already know he's like he was friends with Epstein. Like, how are you friends with a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, there's just no way that you didn't know.
They're implying that, hey, if you release this redacted, people are going to speculate who this victim was, thinking that there was something that happened, but actually the person that's in there didn't accuse Trump of something illegal. And so this is sort of the implication here with the Democrats saying, well, you're unredacting a victim's name. So that's been the battle there. Specifically, the second email, by the way, just further confirms it. It says blank worked at Mar-a-Lago. She was one of the ones that accused Prince Andrew. In the Democrat copy, all of that was redacted because, of course, it gives away the fact that we are talking about, once again, Virginia Giuffre. Also, in these emails released by the Republicans, it says blank worked at Mar-a-Lago. Trump knew of it, came to my house many times. He never got a massage. That's straight from Jeffrey.
Whoa, I think the massage is the least of our problems here,
Epstein clearing him of a massage, which obviously is the one person you most don't want to get a massage from. So,
what, Jeffrey Epstein? You don't think he has nice hands?
Honestly, that is good for him, which is obviously why they released it. Begging the question why they didn't release it sooner. Maybe it's because they didn't want people to know that Trump...
It's because they know Trump is on it. And this is why there's constantly... there's constantly like a new fucking controversy that Trump is leaking out every single day. Like, oh, Epstein's back in the thing. Let's change the Department of War. Oh, Epstein's back. Let's make AI pictures of us dropping poop on people. Oh, this is it. That's what it is. So they're trying to kill time and take as long as possible, because they don't want to be associated. Like they want to try to distract people rather from Epstein, because Trump knows he's fucked. I don't think that he ever thought that like the Epstein files could get released. I think that's why he ran on it in the first place, because I think that like he made a lot of stupid fucking promises that he knew that he wasn't going to be able to keep in their purest, because he like counting on the fact that they were going to get blocked. And I think that's why, like, when he came into this first term, he did absolutely fucking fuck all, because like he couldn't, and like he didn't count on actually getting the power to do stuff. And then he had the same, I think, interpretation, in the second term. But I guess he decided to lean in harder. So because he had to have known that like the shit he wanted to implement was going to be, considered different, like violation of different rights.
Knew about the girls. Now, one thing I want to.
But that's why now his like narrative is like, oh, this isn't real. The Democrats made this up, and it's like, okay, you're the one that's been pushing it.
Talk about is the fact that Epstein is saying, hey, look, Trump publicly said that it was me that he asked to stop, but actually it was Ghislaine that he asked to stop. And my question here is, if it is Maxwell that was the one who poached Virginia Giuffre from Mar-a-Lago and then trafficked her, then why is she getting so much special treatment? I mean, that is the part where... Yeah,
well, obviously, she's like... I mean, if I guess in Andrew Tate terms, is like Ghislaine is probably Epstein's quote-unquote bottom bitch, The one that, like, she's a woman. So it is probably true she quote unquote poached her, because that's what they'll do. That's what sex trafficking pieces of shit do. They'll try to get a woman that's like on their side to make it seem like it's not so bad. Like you actually have like a good relationship if you do this. It'll actually be good for you. You'll actually like really enjoy it. There's a lot of positives here, and then they get you into like a vulnerable spot. And then, they take advantage of you, obviously. So
the Republicans don't look good at all. I mean, what is going on with Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex offender, trying to get a pardon, getting Todd Blanche to give her a softball interview, and then she immediately gets preferential treatment. Look, we've been over the fact that she's at basically a special prison in Bryan, Texas, where normally someone of her status wouldn't be allowed to go to because it's too nice, it's too low security. But in addition to that, new reports are saying that top officials at Camp Bryan are sick of being Maxwell's bitch. Federal law enforcement staff working at the camp have been waiting on Maxwell hand and foot, including, by the way, reportedly she's been given a puppy as part of...
What? Holy fuck. The girl that was part of the fucking horrific pedophile ring was given a puppy in jail? Hey, at least Donald Trump has his priorities checked, huh? Which I guess is trying not to make people realize that, he knew Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile, probably.
The preferential treatment she's been receiving. Overwhelmingly, Maxwell...
It's crazy because one of the narratives, too, because Trump has really just flooded this whole, like, Epstein shit with so many different narratives. Another one of the narratives is that, like, oh, why didn't the Democrats just do it? And it's like, I don't know. I think it's because it was an ongoing trial. You ran on it. That's what we do know, is this you ran on this as, like, your thing. So, like, yeah, you ran on it. Oh, why didn't Democrats do it? I don't know. Maybe they probably should have. They didn't, but you ran on doing it. That was your whole promise. And then, like, turned out you're in there, and I think you knew that. I just think that you didn't think you'd be able to get anything done, and you were just going to continuously use it as an example of, like, see, the swamp is real. Yeah, it's just like there's so many narratives, and MAGA, what they'll typically do is they'll just latch on to one of them. Oh, why didn't the Democrats do it? Oh, it's probably fake. Oh, the Democrats actually made it up. They fabricated it. There's like 10 different conflicting narratives from the Trump administration about this fucking Epstein shit. It's insane.
Has been getting a super nice ride in all of this. This, of course, makes us all wonder, once again, what do they have on Trump? I mean, why treat her like this if she doesn't have something compromising in all of that?
That makes sense. Some compromising. I think he's going to try to use her as a way to reframe the narrative as like the trusted confidant of Epstein, but maybe she didn't really want to do it, and it was actually Epstein's fault, and he's innocent. And, I think that, and I think Trump's innocent, and blah, blah, blah. That's, I think, what's going to end up happening. I think that's kind of the goal.
This kind of begs some questions you probably don't want to ask. Also very suspicious is the fact that immediately after this report came out, Trump personally called Rep. Lauren Boebert, urging her to withdraw support for releasing the Epstein files. Bondi, Blanche, and Patel, we're going to meet today about the Epstein files. This, of course, is furthering the idea the White House has no interest in this story. I think Trump tweeted multiple times today about the Epstein hoax. Again, we've heard that a million times. And the question is, why are you acting so suspicious if you have nothing to hide, right?
Because his followers are fucking dumb and they don't care.
If you didn't get the massage, which Epstein says, what are you hiding? Why are you so worried about all this stuff coming out? By the way, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was actually asked about the White House pressuring people to get them not to sign for the release of the Epstein files, and her response was pretty insane.
Why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that
What?
Show the level of transparency.
It shows that you feel like that's the only thing that you can do, and so you have to do it.
When we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns.
It shows transparency to try to go and block files being released on the world's most prolific. But the fact we know about it, that's the transparent part. It's just insane. I mean, that's the kind of spin we...
Well, yeah, the only reason they're addressing anything is because they feel like they have to, because things have gone too far. That's it. That's it. It's crazy that these people are willing to like lie so much, though. Like, and they just like literally, I don't know, like compromise whatever morals that they don't have. I don't know. It's fucking pathetic. But
we've expected with this story all along. That's been part of what's been so frustrating about all of this. So look, I want to get back to this story because there's so many people involved here. We're just going to go through one by one. I mean, look.
Hey, Hillary, what the hell?
It's a lot.
Was she shopping for her husband, you think?
More than just Trump. Like, one person that got kind of a weird...
What's so funny is that, like, some Republicans will be like, oh, okay, well, what about Clinton or that? Oh, if he's on the list, then fuck him. Like, well, no. Republicans are the only ones that are desperately defending Trump from obviously having a heavy association with Epstein. Anytime you're like, well, what about this Democratic person? Fuck them. That's literally it. So, like, that's literally meaningless because we were just like, yeah, fuck those people. Like, if they're on the list, they're disgusting.
Stray in all of this was the fact that Epstein talked about Hillary doing naughties with Vince. Vince being Vince Foster, a White House
I was thinking Vince Vaughn.
counsel. There was a rumor about Clinton and Vince having some kind of affair, and then later Vince was found dead of suicide. And this is where we see Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff's kind of symbiotic relationship. Michael Wolff is a journalist who has been prolific in all of this. Well, I struggle to call him a journalist, actually, because as we'll find, he was more like a PR guy for Epstein. But he was actually asking Epstein and using Epstein for a lot of access to information. Because Michael Wolff actually told Jeffrey Epstein, hey, basically, I'm interviewing him this afternoon. Anything you think I should ask? And he's talking about Trump. Epstein replies, do you want to be provocative? Michael Wolff says, job is to get the hard ones in without being ejected from the room. What's the one that pierces through? Jeffrey Epstein basically says, hey, you can do this softball. That's a Hillary problem. He would smile, and then you can ask about his relationship with the Electricians Union and Mar-a-Lago, and out you go. Obviously hinting to the idea that he's going to get kicked out if he asks about more sensitive subjects. Michael Wolff asks about, hey, what's up with Foster? And then he describes what that's all about. And this brings us to Michael Wolff, who I want to spend a little bit of time here on. Although some of you may not know as much about him, you may be less interested in him. I think he's one of sort of the worst looking people in all of this. Actually, after reading these
I don't know, man. Trump's been looking kind of bad, you know?
emails, he may be the most disgusting person that comes out of that. And that's saying a lot given what's in here. But I want to just show you this because actually the Democrats initially released was this idea was that Michael Wolff and Epstein were basically planning how to respond to Epstein being brought up in the context of Trump. Michael Wolff says, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump about his relationship with you, either on air or in Scrum afterwards. Epstein says, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? That being interesting because it's like, wait, were they in touch with Trump at this time? Because Trump denied being in contact with Epstein basically since early 2000s. But anyway, if he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, and that gives you valuable PR or political currency, you can hang him in a way that generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey's a good guy that's gotten a raw deal and is victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in the Trump regime. Now,
victim of political correctness is insane.
If it doesn't sound like PR, it might be sounding like blackmail to you. It's like kind of a little bit of both. Michael Wolff is basically conspiring to generate a debt for Jeffrey Epstein from Trump, who is about to become the most powerful person on the planet. So that's really bizarre because Michael Wolff has positioned
I guess he's also about him, bitch, huh?
himself as sort of this truth teller about Jeffrey Epstein. And he's got all these tapes that he's going to release showing how close Trump and Epstein were. But it's like behind the scenes, he was actually kind of running PR for Epstein, which is sort of the worst thing you could have ever done. This is in 2016. Michael Wolff is talking to Epstein about a Patterson book, which later becomes the James Patterson Filthy Rich book. He says basically that would present some time issues if it was released too early. You would not be able to do a competing book or documentary before then. That's not to say it shouldn't be pursued.
I mean, what the fuck do they got on this guy if he's willing to run PR for a fucking legitimate pedophile? This is insane.
Dude, in a sense, better to know what Patterson's position is and a year from now be able to counter it. In 2016,
what the fuck?
He's playing like PR, I'm going to fix your reputation, Jeffrey Epstein.
Jesus Christ. Imagine he was able to pull it off. That'd be fucking crazier than OJ, huh?
He then says, that being said, if you need an immediate...
I mean, it's good that he didn't pull it off. I was being silly, but...
counter to the book, I believe Trump offers an ideal opportunity. It's a chance to make the story about something other than you while at the same time letting you frame your own story. Also, becoming an anti-Trump voice gives you a certain political cover, which you decidedly don't have now. And so again, we get the idea of him kind of scheming to get Epstein cover, which is so bad because now Michael Wolff is like, oh, we're the guy exposing Trump's connections to Epstein. It's like, buddy, what are your connections to Epstein? Then we have later,
I don't know, maybe they're like secret gay lovers or something.
Them discussing a lawsuit against Epstein and Donald Trump with a woman claiming that she was raped. Michael Wolff responds, well, I guess if there's anyone who can wave this away, it's Donald. Let me know if there's anything I can do.
Christ.
Again, why are you trying to do something for a man accused of these things? It really seems...
I don't think any of them care. I think that they see everybody that's not them as less than. They're fucking disgusting individuals.
Seems like Michael Wolff was kind of running cover here. Now, I also want to talk about the Prince Andrew Trump scandal that appears to have been brewing here, or at least is implied in the emails. You may see some people say that Epstein met Trump and Prince Andrew back in 2019, which of course would be well after Trump said they had no contact, which would be bad news for Trump. In fact,
why even lie about that? Oh, I guess because maybe there was some kind of like long-term implication that about that scene.
There's a few things in here which suggest that Epstein had contact with Trump. Of course, we don't know for sure. I'll just present you the evidence we do have. So this is...
Well, I mean, if he lied about not having an association, then to me that means that he did it. I mean, how many times? I mean, Trump lies all the time. But I mean, that's what it sounds like to me.
Back in 2019, June 3rd, they're talking about London real estate, about how financials are going to leave. Then Epstein says, once they are gone, the monarchy is dependable, saying Prince Andrew and Trump today, too funny. And this is actually the same day that Trump and Andrew are spotted in London, of course, meeting together. Jeffrey Epstein says, recall Prince Andrew's accuser came out of Mar-a-Lago, Virginia Giuffre. Then we have a sender that's blacked out, but I think there's strong evidence that it's Steve Bannon, by the way, just to give you some context.
Okay. Jesus Christ, Steve fucking Bannon, huh?
They say, can't believe nobody is making you the connective tissue. So the connective tissue between these two being Epstein. And then Epstein replies, F&B only. Now later, Jeffrey Epstein says, report from London. Donald now thinks he's king. Ivanka a princess. He doesn't need advisors. Bannon says, yep, London trip not good. He had a gleam in his eye. Of course, this...
Damn. Is this the downfall of Donald Trump? It wouldn't be really funny if like the downfall of Donald Trump wasn't that he was a disgusting piece of shit, but it was just because he surrounded himself with a bunch of disgusting pieces of shit. And then he decided to say fuck them the second he felt like politically powerful. I mean, we know he's done it plenty of times. He did with fucking Mike Pence. So that's interesting.
Hinting at the idea that Epstein was there. If he got a report from London, if he's talking about Prince Andrew and Trump, or that's how people are coming to that conclusion at least. And then we have the thread that makes us know this is Steve Bannon, which is he gives a link where it says Steve Bannon believes Trump obstructed justice. Michael Wolff says, he says, BBC crushed him. He should give it up. The book is going to be a stiff. I don't know if he senses that. Epstein replies, unfortunately, I do know his comments have encouraged some to look to you for answers. This all being about an article about Steve Bannon, obviously. And then Steve Bannon says, Burke says, I have zero to worry about. Now, if you don't know who Burke is, he's a lawyer who previously defended Steve Bannon. Epstein then replies, good but unnecessary.
What did Bannon have to say about all this? Is he fucking crickets right now? Because I know he has his own like little podcast. I don't know if you guys know who Steve Bannon is. Steve Madden? This fucking guy. He worked with Trump in the first administration. He's actually a big pusher of like, you know, Trump adopting like Project 2025 ideologies, which are basically just like fucking super oppressive things that would, you know, repeal women's right to vote and shit like that.
Necessary. Should I call Michael Wolff? Bannon says, what are you going to say to him? He's a wild animal caught in a trap. Epstein says, catch his breath. Bannon says, tell him to lay off me. It's both not working and not helping. Okay. Done. Again, this is all in the context of Michael Wolff talking about Steve Bannon, and then he says, hey, tell him to back off. This is furthering the idea that Epstein, Bannon, Michael Wolff, they all had a close relationship, which is mostly public knowledge, but we see exactly how close. Now, in addition to this, I also wanted to note that
Steve Bannon interviewed Epstein and has recordings he never released. That's fucking crazy.
This very strange interaction between these two, where Epstein sends a news article about George Nader being basically caught up in some child pornography charges.
Why did he bother bringing that up?
And then Bannon says, not cool. Epstein, mandatory minimum 15. Bannon says MBZ must have coughed him up.
What the fuck? That sounds like they knew about this guy being a fucking pedophile, and they're like, oh man, that's not cool. So somebody must have gave him up.
How did he get extradited? Could have stayed in UAE forever. Epstein says he was not extradited. He was duped. Bannon. WTF. Epstein. There is his bail hearing today, currently in Brooklyn. Doesn't look good.
I don't think that these people care about kids getting molested. I saw like Megyn Kelly. I'm going to watch it probably like another day, but like Megyn Kelly was like, oh, 15. Like if you like sleeping with 15-year-olds isn't pedophilia. And like, I guess maybe technically, but the undertone was like, who cares? They're grown up. Like that's what the implication is. It's like, holy fuck, these people are actually disgusting.
Pre-trial detention. Now, I personally found it strange that they were so concerned about the fate of someone caught up in such horrible charges. We'll also talk about the Thanksgiving message. This one got a lot of attention, which is that Epstein was going to Thanksgiving and he was asked, where are you having Thanksgiving? He says, Eva. This lady, Faith Cates, replies, he's such a snooze. Who else is down there? He replies, David Fizzle, Hansen, Trump. And once again...
See, all this is why I stopped saying the N-word in emails and text messages, because you never know, one day somebody could leak it. You know, you know what I'm saying? I feel so bad for Mr. Epstein. I'm kidding.
Trump claims that he was not in contact with Jeffrey Epstein after the early 2000s.
Why would he do that? Was he... What? That doesn't sound like Trump. I don't think Trump would lie. What?
He said, hey, I cut him off. I realized he was a bad guy. And if Epstein's having Thanksgiving with him, that's obviously a problem. Now...
Well, according to iDubbbz, we're getting really terminally online here. Thanksgiving's not that big of a deal.
I don't have any public confirmation for that outside of these emails, which are basically talking about it, implying it. Once again, the same is true of Prince Andrew. Do you actually think these emails are about him actually seeing them, or is he just reporting on it? It's kind of hard to know, but I just want you to know what's...
I'm telling you that what's going to come out of this. So like I said before, there's like thousands of different, not thousands, but there's like a bunch of different narratives that come out about Trump to try to like throw shit at the wall, see what sticks for different people and different audiences and different Trump supporters and whatnot. But I'm telling you that like one of them is going to have to be like, oh, pedophilia is not that big of a deal. That's what we're going to get. We're like, I'm not even kidding. I guarantee you within the next month, we're already seeing it, but in the next month, you're going to see more and more like mainstream-ish Republicans coming out being like, well, you know, 15, 16, like that's not a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? I'm telling you, you're going to see it. You're going to really know. You're really going to know who, you're really going to know who's the fucking the threat to society soon.
It's out there. You also should know about the foreign governments that Epstein was working with. In one email, you have Jeffrey Epstein talking about advising a Russian ambassador. He says, Churkin was great. He understood Trump after our conversations. It's not complex. And Churkin was a Russian ambassador at the time until he died. And then you also have Israel. There are a bunch of public reports about Israel being implicated with Epstein.
Like Israel, Palestine? What the fuck? What the hell? Shit.
How spies stayed with him at the time, and some of them even met at Epstein's house. And then you also have some emails between Epstein and a UAE royal, a sultan. So Epstein was rubbing shoulders with the top cream of the crop of our society.
Israel can't catch a break, guys. Just can't catch a break.
I mean, I don't think that should come as a shock. We should also probably talk about Larry Summers. He was in an article, Mogul Donor gives Harvard more than money. And then he is in emails with Larry Summers, where Epstein tells him, when we meet, I will endeavor to mesmerize you with stories of D.C.
Wow, mesmerize, huh?
So wild. And then Larry Summers said, I am trying to figure out why American elite think if you murder your baby by beating and abandonment, it must be irrelevant to your admission at Harvard, but hit on a few women 10 years ago and can't work at a network or think tank.
What?
Do not repeat this insight.
Oops. What the fuck? Holy shit.
Oops. Now everybody has it. So there you go.
Okay.
I mean, that's a high-level snapshot of what we saw in this release. Lots of people being implicated in one way or another. It's quite varied. I mean, you know, some people you find out they've been playing a journalist but have been secretly running PR cover for Epstein, like well after, you know, you kind of knew he was implicated in a lot of this stuff.
I'm just shocked because I still had a sliver of hope that Epstein was innocent, guys. You know what I mean? There was still a sliver, you know.
Other people like Clinton are catching strays on, you know, affairs that they were having. Trump gets a mixed bag where initially the implication that he was kind of given was revealed to be not quite correct because they're talking about Virginia Giuffre, although it still is a mystery why he's behaving so strangely regarding Ghislaine Maxwell, why he's trying extensively to block the Epstein files. I'm not going to pretend I have all the answers. Instead, I just want to break down what we do know so far. As always, we've all been just looking to get to the end of this thing so we can all move on. It's been amazing how slow they have dripped this thing out. I mean, they have been slow rolling it this whole time. So I will update you when we have more.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it also makes sense that since Trump is blocking all this so much and like really trying not to have it come out about him, that it would actually make sense for the Democrats to respond in turn by like slowly dripping out information. Right? Like that seems to be like it would be the potential strategy. I mean, if they're going to slowly go like, no, like every time Epstein comes out, they push it off and they try to defer it more and more and more. If the Democrats leak a little more and more and more and more opportune times to like really snipe out Trump, even if they feel like he's having like positive political coverage, like that's probably going to be the best bet here. Unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, what's going to happen here is that we're going to get more information as Trump does better. Just in the same way where Trump will cause a controversy to distract from Epstein stuff. So it's going to be like this huge fucking cycle. It's going to be like an insane cycle of Trump doing something, Democrats releasing something, Trump escalating, Democrats releasing something. It's going to be a more and more escalation. And part of that escalation is going to be people like Matt Walsh defending pedophilia. Let's be fucking real. Honestly, I wouldn't doubt that he would. I've already seen him to have a take about like 15-year-olds from years ago. I wouldn't doubt that he would run defense. That's funny. You're starting to think that these people are pro-life just so that they have more kids to take advantage of. Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe.